So thank you for joining the session. So what we're hoping to cover during this session is all things related to PEPPOL across Europe, specifically related to Irish businesses and how we go about making that change to enable the businesses to interact with the PEPPOL protocol. So good morning, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Before starting, please leave your comments to the right-hand side of the section or below. The objective for this session is clear: to bring companies into the digital age. The new digital technologies offer a wide spectrum of solutions to problems of a heterogeneous nature, from management software to interchangeable systems. Hi, I'm Kevin Little. This webinar aims to guide Irish businesses step by step in the use of electronic invoicing between private B2B and B2G across Europe, with transmission into PEPPOL. So let's try and understand it all together. What's the obligations, the benefits, the advantages and operational requirements necessary to get started? We aim to show you everything you need to know. Companies are powerless to the face of technological change. Chained to old business models, we have to deal with the breadth of competitors breathing down our neck, already equipped with the technology arsenal necessary. Among these, to move into the digital age, as many Irish businesses, especially around e-government and e-health, which have already been implemented as a public service. So Ireland are quick adapters to technological change, as highlighted in the DESI report 2018. It indicated by the European Commission the thermometer of digitalization across European countries. And as you probably know, Ireland are 6th out of 28, which is quite commendable. However, although there's a number of large, small to medium-sized businesses, this change is necessary. And the business systems, they're all too cumbersome. While the situation is synonymous with slow evolution, on the other hand, it can certainly be advantageous for those innovative companies that are ahead and less active competitors. So let's find out the agenda. So we've got a lot to cover today, but the Q&A obviously clearly is the most interesting part, which is most interactive. But let's try and answer all the questions, and hopefully we won't have any questions we can't answer. So in these 6 parts, we're going to cover everything you need to know about what PEPPOL is and how Sumtrax can help you overcome that. So who are? So our aim is to take document capabilities further. We've developed a powerful platform to support any business's digital document management needs in these uncertain times. So let's learn a bit more about who Sumtrax are. In 1989, as a French company, it is based in southern France and specializes in digital transformations, in particular electronic invoicing. Not just that, it also acts as an international innovative hub for electronic invoice to the wider electronic invoice marketplace. We have over 3,500 customers in pretty much every sector you can think of, and currently we have over 100,000 users using our software, and that's supported by our 70 staff members across 7 offices around the world, as you can see on the map, ranging from Mumbai to Los Angeles. So thanks to our know-how from over 30 years of experience and constant dialogue with our customers and attention paid to market needs, we've managed to establish a customer loyalty on average of over 12 years, which is incredible in the software industry, we think. So our background, as mapped out here, is in SAP and IBM AS400. And the experience is specific, integrate SAP and AS400s. But we have also built specific connectors for many other ERPs and cloud vendors that you can imagine. What are our solutions? So as you can see here, we've got a raft list of solutions that we've been able to develop. Our technology solutions have adapted to our clients' needs, and there are three main areas around P2P solutions: manage and achieving the main benefits of saving, control, and value generation. That value generation is obviously very powerful for us as we align ourselves with our customers. So first of all, it is essential to define what P2P actually is, or rather, what it has become. Over the last 20 years, at the dawn of electronic invoicing systems dedicated to large companies, which are clearly the early adopters in all this, there is a simple talk of accessing even functions of ERP platforms. Choosing P2P software means end-to-end management of all your processes, ranging from tenders to issuing orders and to deliver, and of course to pay, with what follows in terms of discounts and credits, as we all know. Often the current ERPs cover some of these functions, but most of the time they need an ad hoc integration and an application to perform these tasks to maximize this potential. For optimizing the business processes in these areas around transforming your workflow, so we call them sort of logistics processes from a document management perspective, enhances your compliance and regulations and automates your workflows. So for example, the process of transforming and handling goods, let's take that as an example. With connecting tools that is possible to network all of the parties involved in a supply chain, a digital supply chain, obviously, from a sender to the forwarder of the recipients, combining information on transport orders and products across Complayer Suite. Allows you to easily transform printouts produced by IBM or SAP systems into real graphical documents and to automate their distribution within and outside of your organization. So renewing this appearance of your print from a graphical perspective, adding logos, adding fonts, barcodes and RFID QR codes even, reformatting adds the content that you need. And this can easily be done through converting your documents electronically. So, and then obviously the important need is to get it distributed as quickly as possible and as seamlessly as possible. So that's the backbone behind all of our solutions. So let's jump into e-invoicing. So electronic invoicing between private B2B and B2G across Europe, everything you need to know is clearly from an Irish perspective, this plays an important part. So PEPPOL services as an interchange for electronic invoicing, and has obviously advantages and opportunities, but also disadvantages. So what you've got to remember is clearly as your organization grows or changes and adapts to this inherent process or policy that's come through, or protocol that's coming about. In fact, the most advantageous element around electronic invoicing is to allow the state to know all the operations carried out, not limited to VAT, but its entire administration of a production system. And like Italy, Portugal, and other smaller countries across Europe, had to ask Europe for specific degradation around granting and proceeding with electronic invoicing obligating to enforce today almost for all private individuals. Among these regions, it has allowed, has already been equipped with PEPPOL with the resolution 2015, sorry, which was released in 2017, with all regional bodies to be equipping themselves with PEPPOL to issue orders and DDTs, which is transport documentation, which is where we are today, come January 1st. So PEPPOL across Ireland, what does that mean for yourselves? So I wanted this session to be as interactive as possible. So what I can recommend at this point is to jump onto our social channels, whether that be Twitter or LinkedIn, and to join in the conversation to learn more as we share this information across Ireland. As you can well know, we're a French organisation, so we've been working across France and Germany for a number of years now to deliver PEPPOL, and that has taken place, I guess, over the last probably 3 to 4 years, but actively progressing over the last 2 to 3 years. So what we'll do is we'll jump straight into when you consider a pan-European level. So the European Union has not given indications of electronic procurement exclusively through legislation plans, but as we all know, through actions led by the Commission. So what they've done is they've basically funded certain elements like these policy changes, and therefore, in fact, the later measures in order to achieve the objective it has set out for itself. Among the most important and practical tools created and co-financed, we find PEPPOL. So PEPPOL, quite simply, for those who aren't aware what PEPPOL means, it's a pan-European public procurement online policy which allows both businesses and governments to interchange and to deal with invoicing a lot smoother. So therefore, PEPPOL consists of a vast transactional project aimed to offer a large-scale IT infrastructure and services to organize and manage public procurement online at a pan-European level, which is huge if you think about it. So Ireland aren't necessarily latecomers, they're early adopters, as I'll get into in a bit. But this is mainly to manage the public bodies from various European countries. In addition, these projects propose solutions for order and electronic invoicing. So for those who aren't aware, there's clearly agencies across Europe, and especially in Ireland, which act as a PEPPOL authority to govern to govern from a national perspective. So what does that mean? Which might shock you. I'm not sure whether you're aware of these. Basically, 50% of e-invoices are exchanged, which is a high number, but it's not wonderful. Clearly, this PEPPOL element is talking about a far higher number. So 6 million documents exchanged a month. Now, as we all know, that's a small percentage of the overall market. But what's convincing is that 110,000 businesses are involved across Europe, across 20 member states. So there's a lot to be done, but clearly there's movement that has happened, which is very positive across Europe. How does this all fit together? So the goal is to dematerialize the flow of documents and the bureaucracy tasks for the e-procurement field. So how does that relate to PEPPOL? So this project promoted itself clearly from the European Commission, identifies a set of infrastructures, elements, and technical specifications to facilitate e-procurement. Now, as we all know, e-procurement is a very large pain for a lot of organizations, especially when businesses deal with government entities. But this is all about the exchange of data across and in between European countries. So thanks to PEPPOL, all countries in Europe can exchange electronic documents using intermediaries who guarantee their security. So as you can see from these coloured lines, the green, orange and blue, clearly there's providers, there's sellers and buyers, and there's a PEPPOL network in the middle. So this is the 4-point element, which we'll get into. So 2C solutions can operate in an intermediary as a member of the Open PEPPOL Association. You might want to find that out. I'll certainly send a bit more information about that. But this is all related to certified access points, which Simtrax is one of many actually. And we can work with yourselves from a buying or from a selling element, but that service provider in the middle and our connections into the PEPPOL network are where we are strongest in this whole plan or architecture. So PEPPOL offers the IT infrastructure based on open standards and consists of networks and nodes or access points to which public and private economic operators can contact and communicate with each other, exchanging procurement documents in electronic format in a safe and reliable way, unified, based on UBL and CNN or BIL. The code implementation of PEPPOL is released under the open source MPL 1.1 and EU PL 1.1 license. Simplifying the particulars and parties are 4. So this is clearly made up of 4 elements. There's the supply of goods and services, the management of customer. So then what ends up happening is through management systems and export and import imports specifically, or the transport document customer order to the form of the public administration, the UBL or Universal Business Language formats. The B2G user, on the other hand, who provides the service of goods order, receives the recipient's transport documents. So as you can see from the arrows, we're basically heading from left to right. What does that mean? It is accredited intermediaries for communicating with the PEPPOL access point. So we act as the service provider that can help that exchange happen. So the person who physically deals with the transfer of files of the UBL formats to various subjects of the Interset ER agencies for the development of to exchange into the PEPPOL market, for the subject made in the first public PEPPOL access point available. So what does that mean? That means that buyers have a preferred platform and sellers have a preferred platform. So this in itself is groundbreaking. So we'll find out what that means for yourself and how you can get involved. So before we do that, I'll just show you a quick map of what this looks like from a higher level. Right, so this is where Ireland fits in, so the top left-hand corner of the private business. So what you'll end up having is you'll have a Complayer PEPPOL manager that allows you to interact with the network, with the PEPPOL network. So Simtrax will act as your AP or access provider. And then depending on what countries you need to operate with, let's say it's the NHS or whether it's somebody in Portugal or Norway, we'll then exchange with the AP in that other region, and then that other region's AP can exchange with ourselves, and we then obviously send the information back. So this is a wider network, which you may not have been aware of, but it's a nice graphic to show you how organizations through APs and the overall PEPPOL network can communicate with their private enterprise, whether that's in Belgium, Portugal, or wherever. So PEPPOL and our positioning. So what does that mean? So obviously there's a clear map here that draws a schema of how Simtrax are involved. So Simtrax is one of the few companies on the Irish scene that have received certification for this body. For this reason, it represents the point of reference for the exchange of electronic documents or orders, invoices, order confirmations, or transport documents in general, or for other documents that are part of the company's operation, according to PEPPOL standards defined at a European level. So this gives you an idea. This graphic shows you how the whole thing interacts, how PEPPOL communicates with our PEPPOL manager, the conversations that happen, the web portals and the services and gateways that are needing to be available to supply into your customer or vendor. How does this all fit together? So from your perspective, you would have an end system. You would have a system on the left-hand side, and that will essentially allow you to exchange XML documents. So the use of Compleo when connecting to PEPPOL. Compleo provides you with a tracking interface that is integrated with PEPPOL and its IT systems. These are the 5 steps towards digital transformation with PEPPOL. First point is invoicing the document, converting and transforming it into XML, and then expecting the format and the template to be programmed. Compleo makes sure the data is correct, then automatically transmits it and confirms, with confirmation, and deposits it as an access point and has a tracking reference. This helps to follow the documentation and the status and any errors in the PEPPOL elements, and makes integration secure with the information systems. So let's say we can be ready with PEPPOL in less than 3 weeks, which is quite a statement. And this is how we do it. So the advantages, let's jump into the advantages. So a thread that connects all the elements is the document digitalization in Europe. So PEPPOL can be best described in this way, as a common infrastructure designed to ensure interoperability and simplification, reduce bureaucracy across international trade, and uses a simple tool whether you are doing business in just in Ireland locally or in foreign administrations or across Europe, to manage the entire order cycle and consequently simplifying all these processes. So Compleo Hybrid is developed as a single platform, and it's used across many different countries and regions. So what you can see here is the 5 different varieties of PEPPOL Manager that we've developed for different countries. So I've touched on a few. Obviously, I haven't really focused on France, although we've got other sessions that can focus on that for you. But clearly, this shows you the involvement that each country in Europe has to a great level on this. And I think I want to just highlight Switzerland, which is a prime example for an organization a country that's highly innovative, a bit like Ireland, who've developed the QR code payment system, which is, as I mentioned before, for benefactors who have a QR code, and that allows the payment to be processed, which I think is sort of the next level, or PEPPOL 2.0 to this whole thing, which allows basically faster payments, which is critical for any organization, whether large or small. So, we're happy to talk about different elements here and how this all fits together. But from your perspective, what we're hoping to do is to build into the Irish PEPPOL element around PEPPOL Europe, to be that 4th element that I've highlighted here, which we can share with you in our own private session. So let's find out the efficiencies of the system that we have in place for yourself. Great. So in other words, we've got an efficient EDI. For those people who know what EDI is, PEPPOL is essentially an extension of that. Not exactly, but it is as far as Complayer Hybrid is concerned. So we've entered a new digital era, a single platform on which you can manage all digital integration processes with all European countries using Invoice for B2B or B2G. As you know, in the beginning of 2019, the obligation to form and transmit invoices electronically came into force with QR codes, which transformed that whole infrastructure. An important update and launched invoices with QR codes has been postponed to June 30th of this year, which is clearly past. So there's an update that needs to happen, which we'd like to share with you in future sessions. And it is already an important step, which will revolutionize the payment system, as it's already happening, which you might hear about in Switzerland, and could be made for many years. So payments will only be made to beneficiary accounts through IBAN numbers using QR codes that will contain all the information for making a payment, also adding information that cannot currently be used. Those who issue the invoices will be facilitated in printing, since this is no longer being needed for now on special sheets, but normal white sheets printed by any printer. So in Germany, for example, this is already they're moving towards this, around discovering electronic invoicing across Germany, digitalizing their B2B, B2G digital public services. In 2014, which you may already be aware of, there was a digital agenda. And in 2018, there was an IT Planning Council established that every public authority must be reachable through the PEPPOL channel. Public authorities are also called upon to adapt to Zigverd or Factory X invoice. The roadmap within which to adapt to these regulation requirements varies according to the size of the company. So clearly, even in the UK, we've limited it to a certain size. So anybody, for example, also with IR35, is limited to those organizations over 10 million need to adapt to that. And this will play out in a similar type of way. So let me hand it over to a colleague of mine, Diane Charlotte, to demonstrate what this all actually looks like. So rather than me just telling you and showing you schemas and maps of everything, we can show you exactly what this looks like from a user's perspective and gives you a quick flow about how the system would work. And the example we use is an SAP system. So over to you, Diane Charlotte.
Now I'm going to show you our solution, Compleo PEPPOL Manager, and how it works. So first, let's get through it and see what we have. So when you open it, you have a dashboard resuming all regarding your documents. So for now, you have all of these, but regarding the role of your company in PEPPOL, I mean by that, if your company is a buyer or a seller, then some of the documents will not be, some of this option will not be there. So if we give a look on the send document, we can see here that we can know if a document is submitted, which means sent, but not, we don't know if it's accepted yet or if it does have an error and so on. So then you can see the delivered documents. So who are well delivered to the person, to the company they need to be sent to. You can have some information here, and also the documents in error. So you can click on the different ones. So if you click directly on send document, you have a global view, but you can also apply filter by clicking on the different on these different buttons, which allow you to see specific documents. And yeah, so you can know if a document's arrived and if there are error in it. Then there is this the received document field. So here you can have all the received documents, and you have a different filter related to that. You can then see your statistic. For instance, in the sended documents, and also where you are connected, and so on. So for insecurity, you can with the PEPPOL manager console, you can manage who has which authorization and who has access to what. So now let's give a look on how this is working. So for the operator, the job is as usual. So he just have to print his document out. So as he's doing today. So I'm going to show you under SAP. However, we can manage a connection with any kind of ERP. So here I'm searching for this document, and now so here is the invoice we are talking about in this demo. And now if I'm gonna just release it. Be sure it's goes in the right logical destination, but okay, so now I printed this out and it was successfully issued. So if we give back a look in the Compleo manager, we can see that in the send document, the document we just were looking for has been submitted, and we have all the information. We can also look at the XML source, which has all the information from the invoice, and so the transformation from the SAP output and the XML document that is mandatory for PEPPOL is made thanks to another of our solution. And I guess, yeah, now we just in the delivered document, so it changed status because it has been delivered.
Great, fantastic. Thank you for that, Charlotte. So now you've seen it. These are the extra reasons why you might need to learn a bit more about Compleo Hybrid and how it can help specifically put our PEPPOL management solution. So what are the good reasons? So let's say there are 5. So 5 economic and technical reasons to choose Compleo: to accelerate the development, production, and management times of a digital integration process. It is an ideal tool to make your information system flexible and adaptable to the needs, and always having under control the costs for the management and evolution of existing ones. To automate automatic and multiple channel distribution of documents to the outside world. Compleo is electronic invoicing software that simplifies your life and improves your work. So here's some of the references that we've had thus far that Syntrax have collaborated on with many nations and international, making it an international reality. And what we're working on with a lot of these organizations, they might not all be in Europe, but they all have this e-procurement requirement. And PEPPOL seems to be the leading protocol to help them all come together, not just from a B2G level, but from a B2B level of the future. These are my details. Feel free to reach out to me. There's my QR code. Please scan it with your mobile phone. It'll take you straight to my LinkedIn profile and we can exchange and interact that way. So from myself and Diane Scholler, we'd like to thank you for joining us and we'd like to welcome you to our community and would like the opportunity to share a bit more about this. So reach out and we can help facilitate that. Great, so join the conversation at either LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube. What we suggest you do is search on Syntrax on each of these platforms and you'll find us. If you want specific reference to myself and our local London office to yourself, then use Syntrax UK and that will guide you to our Twitter page and we can share and have a conversation and answer questions related to the session. So hope you enjoy the session, and from Diane, Charlotte and myself, we'll speak to you soon.